Well, hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is an impromptu stream. I was literally just sitting on the couch with Mrs. Boom. We finished one of our flicks that we were watching, and I saw the breaking news via Hazardor Gaming. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, again, I normally don't stream at night. Mrs. Boom was like, nope, you got to stream. Go, go, go. Well, here I am, folks. I am trying to round up a couple of people to talk about it. And I want to thank the 27 people that are already here. I don't expect this to be a big turnout because obviously it's an impromptu. You can see by the thumbnail, it's going to be a very pointed conversation. There is a lot to get into. This is breaking news, folks. This is what I've said was going to happen. We've heard King David over the course of the last year, yell out hashtag whole slate. And, look, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, PlayStation Studios bringing games, bringing their games to Xbox Series X and S. We have Corkenstein joining us. Cork, what's going on, dude? We were hanging out this morning, and, well, here we are again, 8:30 in the evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, folks, we're going to have a round robin of people joining us. This is pretty intense news. How are you feeling there, Corkenstein?
Good. I literally just woke up and I was like, all right, let me see. I was going through my work emails, going through everything, and I was like, let me just, open up Twitter. And that's like the first thing that popped up. And I was like, ooh, it's about to get spicy here online. I mean, yeah, it was inevitable. We knew this was coming, guys. Yeah, it's insane for people to think that most people, especially once we saw the success that Xbox had on PlayStation, Sea of Thieves hitting millions of players, Forza Horizons being one of the best-selling PlayStation games. Come on, guys,
Yeah,
that's free money on the table. What
it
company
is.
is going to be like, no, my plastic box, I don't like money. It's like, like what company? They don't care. Like, they really don't care. PlayStation would have done this a long time ago if they really realized how much money it would bring them. It took Microsoft to port to their system first to be like, oh wow, yeah, we're leaving a ton of money off the table here. So it's just I'm waiting for the meltdown. I really, really am. I want to see people keep that same energy that they did, sitting there crying and I'm selling my Xbox and and going to PlayStation. It's like, where are you gonna go? Nintendo? Like, go ahead, but you're not going to get majority of the games that you would on Xbox and PlayStation. Let's see that my exclusives narrative come back. You can't use that. So yeah, I'm just waiting. I really want to see the receipts. Like, I'm hoping Crispy Bomb's taking really good notes right now.
He's going to be joining us. I literally just got off the phone with him. I tried to reach out to Buzzy Belvedere. He hasn't gotten back to me yet. So we may actually have like the Breakfast of Boomcast joining us.
Okay.
I sent it out to a bunch of people. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing Ferocious Fee right now.
Oh, okay. That's why he didn't answer. Okay. So maybe we'll get him in on the back end. So there are a couple of people asking where this came from. So let me just give it a heads up. And, while we kind of wait for people to file in, we're already at 220 people. Yeah, that's crazy. This comes the way of one of the most dynamite posters on X, Hazardor Gaming, folks. And I'll put it to you this way. If Hazardor is reporting this, it is good as gold. He is, without a doubt, one of the better sleuths of the interwebs. And he is in the he runs in the same ranks as like the Shinobi 602s and some of the other big posters and newsbreakers of the interwebs. He is phenomenal. And folks, I'm going to read the tweet verbatim. Now, if you're asking, again, we are waiting for people to file in, and we will, continue to, reread this verbatim for people that are going to come in. This comes the way of a job listing for Sony Interactive Entertainment. It's on their job boards, folks. And I'm going to read it verbatim, exactly what it says on the tweet. And it does absolutely knock in the door of all of these console warriors. You're going to see that in the next, 10, 15, 24 hours, these toxic MFers that all they do is play Twitter are going to go into a witness protection. You're not going to see any tweets from them. You're not going to hear anything from them. Hell, they may even cancel some of their podcasts. But here it goes, folks. According to Hazardor Gaming's post, and it says this: according to job listings for Sony, to expand PlayStation Studios titles across Steam, Epic, Xbox, Nintendo, and mobile, reporting to the Vice President Commercial Management as a Senior Director of Multi-Platform and Account Management. And here is the actual breakdown for the listing, ladies and gentlemen. And it says this, and I quote, "You will play a critical leadership role in shaping and executing the global commercial strategy for PlayStation Studio software titles across all digital platforms beyond PlayStation hardware, including Steam, Epic Game Store, Xbox, Nintendo, and mobile." It continues. "This role is accountable for optimizing title profitability, ensuring cross-function alignment, and leading a high-performing team focused on multi-platform expansion, mid-range commercial planning, and platform partner management." That is the dagger to the console warrior's heart, Korkenstein. My God, it has happened. This is, and again, shout out to Nuno, the whole slate. Well, you can thank King David, who's been saying hashtag whole slate forever. And look, you see in my thumbnail, in my opinion, these are the first three. We don't know how soon this is going to happen, but if Sony wants to continue to make money, and we saw how well Helldivers 2 has done, Korkenstein, well, I would imagine it's going to be sooner than later. Let's welcome in Crispy Bomb. Crispy, your name was mentioned by Korkenstein saying, Crispy is looking through his receipts as we speak. Did you find those receipts, kind sir? Welcome.
Oh, I haven't yet. I mean, this is I mean, for Boom, let's be honest, this is very abrupt, and I saw it and I sent it. I don't know if I sent it to you, but I definitely reposted it, and I was like, that's interesting. Haven't we done this before with the like, hey, things are happening, and like, unfortunately for Xbox at times, it's been right. And now all of a sudden it's on the other end. So yeah. I think the stands are going to be very angry today. And I'm sure like, I don't even want to look at the chat. I'm going to be honest with you, because when they do stuff like this, and don't get me wrong, maybe in like a couple hours, like somebody tells them to take it down. I just don't feel that way. They're ready to bring certain games, especially like older games, to Xbox. And
yes,
I think we've been saying this for way too long now. So let's get into it.
Well, you know what? While we get into it, Hargeet Chani is waiting. I'm going to email Hargeet, because he is going to be messy AF, and you know what? For that matter, so am I. Because again, this is one of the situations where there were several people, and I won't do the names thing because it's not necessary. I'm not trying to get subs by throwing people on the buses. I'm here for vindication myself. I said Spider-Man. I said Days Gone, and there were several people that, again, no names, clipped me, did podcasts about me, probably made ridiculous thumbnails about me. That's all fine and good. Folks, here's the bottom line. Sony is a mega corporation. They're not a near $4 trillion company, right? But they are a $1 million company, $1 billion company. And they want to make money just like Xbox, just like Nintendo. And they have a lot of games, especially in the single player realm that would do well on other consoles, i.e., Returnal. You know, the game did not sell that well, right? Critically acclaimed for sure, but did not sell up. Here's Hargeet Chani. Let me just stop my thoughts right there. Hargeet, how you doing, kind sir? Is this
good. I have like
news?
5 minutes before I have to jump to see money's.
Okay, so we
But
's for
my
5.
God.
Let's get your thoughts on it while we got you here. So I would imagine
Wow.
that this is big news, dude. This is
late breaking news, right? Just
yeah.
like the end of the end of the day. And I guess this is interesting. Is it good news or bad news? Because usually Fridays is reserved for bad news.
Well, I mean, you know what? Honestly, if you're Sony, this is the kind of news that would be considered bad. So you
Right.
get it out on a Friday, right? Late Friday.
Yep.
It's it might simmer throughout the weekend. Come around Monday, but I'm gonna read verbatim what the role of this new vice president.
I read the
Okay, you
role and I saw Jez's article on it, and holy crap, man. Like everybody's been seeing this happening, right? They've been saying it's coming.
Yeah.
Right. It's been like the last couple of years they've been kind of hinting it's coming ever since sort of the Jim Ryan Hiroki like clash that happened in the background.
Yeah.
There's gonna be changes coming, and the culmination is here, right? It's coming. Like all these games are going everywhere. I think that's fantastic for PlayStation. It's going to be a meltdown for PlayStation.
Yes.
Ponies, whatever you want to call them, the Uber fans, right? That are like, no, it must stay exclusive. Well, that's over. It's done. It's done. It's over. After Helldivers, it was pretty much done anyway. Now it's really like, come on. How much more do they have to spell it out? It's done. They're going to Nintendo. They're going to Xbox. They're going to PC. They're gonna just wait. That's it. They're gonna delay it. And look, Xbox is doing the same in some cases, right? Avowed is not yet out on PlayStation, but I'm sure it'll come there. And
Right.
what was the compulsion game there? Midnight, South of Midnight, right? That's also not out on PlayStation. I did Grounded 2 have a PlayStation release? I don't think they have that.
Keeper,
right?
it is. I believe
it is. Okay, so Keeper, I think that is not on PlayStation. But again, I think they will come, right? So a lot of the games
They'll all be like staggered out the releases, I would imagine.
And some of them are not, right? Yeah. So that's kind of the same thing you're going to have here. Wherever it makes sense for PlayStation, like if Marathon comes out, it's going to be on Xbox. I think they'd be well served by putting, if Fair Games actually makes it out, put it on everything. Give it the best chance it has, right? So, but other games, they'll stagger it. Fair enough, but it's coming. It's over. The stupid console war thing. It's done. I can't wait to see the breakdowns of all the people. Just Helldivers was enough to cause sort of chaos everywhere, right?
It was.
Now what's gonna happen?
Well,
we'll see when they bring it over. Like another thing that's like Nixus, they've already done a lot of the PC ports, right?
Yes.
Now they're just waiting for the next thing to do. What's the next thing to do? Bring it to Switch and bring it to Xbox, right? That is the next thing to do. So there you go. Like, all right, let's get it going. And you need a partner to start bringing all these things over. Fair enough. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it's
hilarious.
It's again the wording, and again we got to shout out Hazard Gaming because obviously he's the one that posted this. I didn't see Jez's article because, like I said, I was literally sitting on the couch with Mrs. Boom. I told her I had this news. She's like, go, and she's chilling in the room. And well, here I am here.
Yeah, I don't know if it was Jez who wrote it, but it's on Windows Central Gaming. But Jez, had it in
the. That's what he does. He obviously is going to promote where he works, but.
Yeah,
this
so
is
I don't know
right
who
here.
Wrote it, but
this is
it is by Jez.
This is the pinnacle. This destroys any narrative. Anybody that's going to come into the chat that's going to try and defend this, good luck, Charlie Brown. You can't defend it, and here's why. Listen to this, folks. This is the dagger to the heart. It says, and I quote, "You will play a critical leadership role in shaping and executing the global commercial strategy for PlayStation Studio software titles across," here we go, folks, "all digital platforms beyond PlayStation hardware." And that list includes Steam, Epic Games, Xbox, Nintendo, and mobile. That's the dagger. ladies and gentlemen.
All right,
Now
I got to jump, but
all right, brother.
thanks for having me on
All
for
right.
a few
Yeah,
minutes,
thank you.
and
Thank you for
enjoy. I'll
popping
be on
in.
with Steve and Doodle if you guys want to jump on.
Yeah,
after,
we're gonna.
after
Oh,
this.
that's gonna be a loaded show for sure.
Oh, we will
no
have
doubt
fun with
about it.
this. We're definitely gonna have
Yeah.
fun with this. All right, see you guys.
All right, brother. Thank you so
Later.
much for popping in here. Korkenstein, I mean, we got to get some thoughts on this. That wording, I think, is exactly what we've talked about. As you know, again, in podcasts, on social media, on X, and many people who have had that sentiment and came out, publicly with it were lambasted. I was one of them, right? And look, the bottom line, I've been saying Spider-Man 2018 for over a year. And I think that's the first one. You know why? It's going to make a boatload of money. It's going to make so much money. It's almost ridiculous how much money it's going to make. Let's get your thoughts on the exact wording on this new hire that's going to shape PlayStation's future. That's beyond the PlayStation hardware.
Everything's coming for the most part. I think you may have those one tentpole games like God of War. I think those kind of games, maybe even The Last of Us, with its TV show, I think those will probably end up staying exclusive. Like you mentioned earlier, there are a few that are still exclusive to Xbox that hasn't came over yet, like South of Midnight, Avowed, those kind of games. But I think majority of the stuff is coming, and Sony learned from the whole for right now it's 4 games kind of speech that Phil Spencer gave. Right
Only
now they
4
just
games.
yeah, they're skipping that. They saw the backlash that happened, and they're just gonna quietly release a job posting. But I'm really wondering where's the outrage. I really want to see if people are going to be like, they lied, because like a year ago they were doing that whole press release conference and they're like, no, we're committed to keeping exclusives and we're not going to do that. And then like a day later, 2 days later, Horizon for Switch, it gets announced. And then now, like a couple of months ago, they were sitting, there's no urgent need to pivot. We're going to keep the same strategy because we believe in it. Now, like a month later, all of a sudden you're looking for people to port stuff over to Xbox. That's where's the Herman Holslide or Hiroki Totoki, they lied like they do with Phil Spencer. I'm waiting for that. But yeah, it's there. It's done. Phil Spencer even said the console wars are over. He already knew the console wars were over. He said, like, we're moving multi-plat. He already knew that, hey, they're going to see the money from this. They're going to see how great, what a great thing and how many fans we can bring together, with these great games and everything. And, it's not about, people's pride or, their I guess, I don't know, love or affair for a plastic box. Yeah, it's done, guys. Get over it. We're gonna be, as gamers, this is a great thing. I don't see why people would be freaking out and crying over this. We get to play more games. Like, why do you want to gatekeep people out of playing something that's a hobby that's supposed to bring people together? Like, that's the whole point of gaming is getting away and escaping and meeting new friends and playing things and experiencing these magical worlds together. Like, that's what gaming should be. Even Phil Spencer said, when everybody plays, we all win. And that's the mentality we should have going into this. And I think, kudos. I will give kudos to PlayStation for finally just, stopping this insane narrative of exclusives that they've consistently pushed and kind of start, hey, let's have more people enjoy games, this beautiful art form that we all come together for. It's done, guys. Console war's over.
Yeah. We're gonna see. The one thing that we don't know, right? This is a posting. This is something that they are actively working on to get done. I don't think that it's going to start and stop with the hire. So meaning that ideology of pushing this new narrative for PlayStation Studios first party games, Crispy Bomb, is going to move forward. How soon? Well, Korkenstein said something pretty interesting. When Nixus was picked up, they were picked up to port games over to Sony, to Steam for Sony. And they've done that quite a bit. They've ported Spider-Man 2018. They've ported Days Gone. I'm pretty sure, and if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, someone had actually posted that the trilogy for Uncharted was going to be one of the first ones. I don't know if Nixus has actually done that. I can actually look for my, just see what they've ported already. But Crispy, I think this is going to happen rather quickly. I don't think there's going to be we're gonna say it and just sit on it for a year. They want to make money now. And look, folks, if you're wondering if this is just a copy and paste situation with them doing what they normally do for Xbox and it's copying what they do, I don't think that's the case. I know that maybe this will not be a one-to-one reason, but I have to equate some of their losses. Like if you just look at some of the losses that they've had in the past 12 to 18 months, you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, Crispy Bomb. They have to account for that loss because they're a publicly traded company. And I've said we might even have said this week at some point on one of the other shows, and you might have been a part of that show, Crispy, where a shareholder is going to be like, wait a second, how is this the biggest selling game on our platform and it's a Microsoft game? How come we're not doing that? Well, folks, here's your answer. They are going to be doing that. We just don't know which of those games are going to be first. Let's get your thoughts on some of the craziness that happened in the last hour.
Well, I'm going to be messy in a second, but I'm going to be very logical because I just said this. Sony, for once, has some analytics. And I'm going to tell you right now, in my heart of hearts, the pre-orders are absurd for Helldivers 2. Absurd. Yep. And I'm going to be honest with you, the communities that, I engage with, we're talking tens of thousands of people. They could take a joke. They could do all this. We even have, like people like throwing hell jumpers type stuff in there. And we're all for it. Like even, especially the PC people. I wouldn't say that there's some PlayStation guys that are like, no, Xbox people don't know how to play these games. And I'm like, excuse me, sir? But that's besides the point. What I'm saying is that the community is very welcoming. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, I think, and especially the Oblivion thing, think about that number. Because I know
we're going to get into that on Monday, dude. 9 million players, bro.
And I don't want to, take away from your topic there, but in realism, like, nostalgia is still a hell of a drug. And for once, Xbox is putting out nostalgia, which is a little weird. Okay. Not the same. And there's a lot of games on Sony's platform that can do some really good numbers in my eyes, even on Switch 2, if they're able to do that. We're in the belief that there's going to be a definitely a few Xbox games going to Switch 2. We've accepted it. You have to understand. There's going to be people that don't accept it. But there are some that have finally just said, enough's enough. It's going to happen. And I think this is kind of like the tentpole stake, like, hey, like, King David's laughing so hard right now. And I love that man. I really do, because he's been talking about this far longer than any of us. And it's interesting because it seems like they're setting up some kind of store in realism. maybe without, maybe they learned their lesson putting on Steam, not having the PSN account and all that, but they are completely setting that up. I hope they don't pick the wrong person, but I think the money hats are completely involved right now.
Yep.
Sony's been in a pickle for a while. I mean, if you trade at all and you just go like, hey, should I buy Sony today? And you see where they're at, and then you see where Xbox is at, and Microsoft. You're like, I don't see it. I don't see their logic in everything. And I think they're slowly, and they're going to continue to slowly change. But I mean, like I said, this could be one of those things where they're like, take that down, stop doing that. Maybe it was just one worker, or somebody else that's a shareholder is going to be like, why is that bad? Excuse me? Like, we're not telling you to bring like brand new games out. It's the same thing I'm not telling Xbox to do. Like Gears of War E-Day, do not go to PlayStation. If it's 3 years later, why the heck would I be mad? Seriously. Okay? Like, give me those reasons in aspect and say, okay, like, if it's a smaller game, by all means. If Helldivers 2, I guarantee it would be like 5 million by the end of it if it released day and date on Xbox. So I look at that and I say, can we, like, we're not saying like take away your entire console ecosystem and like what is great about your console. We're not asking you for that, but do recognize that we do buy games. Like people think why would they include Xbox in that synopsis? And I would say logically, because it's viable and it makes sense. And also maybe there's back end talks where they're like, hey, can you help us do this? And that's what I said to Boom when we initially talked about it. And this is not in the green room. This is on the phone, people. So I look at that and I say, I mean, logically, these money people who have seen substantial losses. I mean, I, for the gaming aspect, it's definitely Concord. Like that's absurd amount of loss. Like, don't get me wrong. Like Perfect Dark is right there with it, in my opinion. Hiring all those people, making a new studio, it is right there with it. But there's one that can sustain that, and unfortunately, lay off people, which I don't like. But at the same time, we've watched Sony lay off tons of people, and nobody's better than I. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, you can't sit there and act like one company is better than the other. Like, one has the same amount of people and has done these things over a smaller period of time in people's eyes, but really it's been very long. Okay, it's been years upon years, and I think it's disrespectful to just be like, oh, everything's fine, nothing's happening. Like, we acknowledge that all the time. Like, Xbox, what are you doing? Microsoft, what are you doing? Why are you laying all these people off? It's disrespectful. And at the same time, I think most of us that are seeing the future and not just living in the past, wanting the console wars, are saying like AI is a part of the problem. And I think multiple companies are looking at that, including Sony, and saying maybe we can port things easier using these type of tools, if you want to be nice about it. But I am one of those people that, have watched Terminator 2 20 times, and I don't like that as well. So I'm just saying, in the end, Sony is a publicly traded company. This is not Bethesda when they were bought. Okay. Bethesda was technically personally owned. It was never publicly traded. This company is different. And they're looking at Microsoft, which is also publicly traded, and saying, why can't we make money like them?
Yes.
And then you see them doing what they're doing, and they're still being successful. And then you port one specific game. I agree with a lot of people that say, hey, it's a multiplayer, it's a gas. Well, you're just proving our points we've said to you, that we buy multiplayer games. We like them. Okay. We've been playing them forever. We've had single player story and multiplayer games in so many of the games that we've played over our entire lives on Xbox. So you're not wrong in that thought process, but don't act like an IP like Spider-Man wouldn't sell well on Xbox. I think that's a dumb thought process. It really is, because there's at least 1 million people that probably don't have or maybe never touched a PlayStation. I guarantee, like between youngins and everything else, like, hey, I'm gonna play on my TV. I'm gonna play here and there. Like there's enough people to justify the port, and I think that's what people are ignoring.
You know what? I want to take this a step further, and I got to give once again public credit to Hazardor Gaming. You want to know how quickly this thing turned around for Sony? You guys want dates? You want times? You want quotes? You want the evidence-based conversation that I'm known for? Well, I'm going to give it to you raw. Here we go. Check this out. Now, once again, Hazardor Gaming posted this on June 13th of 2025, right? Well, we are in July, still of 2025. It's July 25th today. So it's about I'd say about a month and a half, give or take, right? You know, day off, day on, right? Well, check this out. Here was Sony and PlayStation CEO's response to Microsoft's multi-platform pivot. And this says it all, ladies and gentlemen. And I quote, while there are new let me start over. While there are new engagement models being explored, we ultimately think this is a good thing. However, talking about Xbox, we are confident and committed to our current strategy, and there isn't an urgent need to pivot to multi-platform. Very, very interesting shit, ladies and gentlemen. That was the CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. Well, there you go. So July 13th, there was no rush to pivot. July 25th, June 13th, July 25th, they're now pivoting. Think about that, Korkenstein. That is a pretty big turnaround for a multi-billion-dollar company who is seeing the multi-trillion-dollar company eat their lunch in their own store. Now, listen, I'm going to say this right up front. If Spider-Man and Days Gone and any of those big titles come to Xbox, like The Last of Us, for instance, they're gonna chart on the Xbox store. There's no freaking doubt about it. And that's going to be ultimately a good thing for Sony. They're going to get 70%. Xbox will get 30%. And you know what? Console wars are over, folks. Play on what console you like best. If you like trophies, if you like your friends list, if you like the DualSense, you're going to play on the PlayStation. If you like achievements, you like Xbox Live, you like the controller, you're going to play on Xbox. If you have the money and you are rocking a 4090 and a rig that's all tricked out, you're going to play on PC. No one loses here, folks. No one loses here. You know who? Well, you know what? I'm sorry. Yeah, there are going to be a bunch of losers. People that use hate-generated content for console war. There's not going to be a console war anymore. It's over. Their content is dead. That's just the way it is. People that have been using, the narrative of this game is better, and boohoo, Xbox games went multi-platform. They're dead. They're DOA. They're on the way out. I cannot wait to see some of these creators' posts trying to either renounce this or defend it. It's going to be very interesting. But what are your thoughts on the CEO from the quote from June 13th? Right? It's only last month, Korkenstein. That is a big turnaround to July 25th.
Yeah, that's what I called out earlier. I was like, where's the outrage for the same people that always like to go, Phil Spencer lied. Phil Spencer lies to us all the time. Like, he does this. Where's the same outrage, for Holston to Toki? Like, it's the same exact thing. Even a year before that, remember, they were saying the same exact thing. Where they're like, oh, we don't see a reason, we're gonna have our exclusives, there's no reason to do this. And then like 2 days later, Horizon for Nintendo, Lego Horizon got announced. They've been doing this where they say one thing and then all of a sudden they're doing something else. This has happened for years with Sony, where they've always followed in Xbox's footsteps.
Yes.
And this is just another case of that. Like, I'm still waiting. Yeah, I think I saw Clute called it out as well.
He actually just posted. He just came up in my feed. He literally quote tweeted exactly what I read. Shout out to Clute, Zach and Clute on Twitter.
Yeah, or Abdel in the chat for some of those here. Where's the outrage for that? Where's the outrage for the lying that they've been consistently doing? I think, I don't know if there's going to be a secondary topic on what's going to be coming next for PlayStation. I saw that you put a poll up as well.
Yes.
If you guys haven't voted on that, go ahead and vote on there what you think's coming next. But I'm just waiting for, this is going to be something that is going to consistently happen. I mean, maybe not now. It's going to be interesting to see how Sony pivots from this. Like, they tried to do this on a Friday night where they thought nobody would be, scrounging, job postings, and they were just kind of going to do it a little under the radar. Because that's a big thing. Like, especially to name the ecosystems, the platforms you want to bring this stuff to. Like, they could have just said and left it vague, various platforms. They went out of their way in this job posting to say, Steam, Epic Game Store, Xbox, mobile. They went out of their way to specifically list this. So either bad, I don't know why. Like, either it's just maybe the person who wrote it maybe just crossed wires. I don't know why they just didn't say various platforms. But it's out there now. There's no turning it back. So I'm interested to see if PlayStation either just does what they normally do and they just keep quiet and everything keeps going on and their fan base, like goldfish, forget in 5 seconds, or if they do a whole thing like, hey, yeah, we're gonna shift focus, because this isn't something that's taken lightly. Like, this isn't just, especially.
Oh no, this is the decision that comes from the tippy top of Sony Interactive Entertainment, dude. This is a massive change in their ideology that just 6 weeks ago, they literally were responding in a threads to the way that Xbox, and they even said it, the way that Xbox is exploring new ways to make money is great, but we're going to stick to what we do. And of course, I'm paraphrasing, but that's ultimately what they said. This is a big, big deal, Cork.
Yeah, and this isn't something that was just decided like yesterday. Like, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna go multi-plat. Let's create a job for that. So they had to have known. And I, from what I'm hearing, I think they do have already stuff that's being ported. Helldivers 2, this was something that's been ported probably for at least the last 6 months to Xbox, if not earlier. So this isn't something that they're just deciding like, we're going to switch and everything we said last, 6 weeks ago, oh yeah, that's outdated. They had to have known this is stuff that is coming already. This is you don't just change your whole business model in less than 6 weeks. So this is something that's been coming. We all know it, or we knew it. I guess the certain PlayStation fans didn't know it. So it's just weird on why they would, maybe for shareholders or maybe for posterity or whatever, I guess brand reputation. I don't know. It's silly. But why would they lie? So that's what I'm wondering. So I'm wondering how Sony kind of pivots from that and see how they react to this firestorm, or if they'll just let it die down through the weekend and just keep it quiet.
I don't know. Crispy Bomb, again, this is, this story is going to be ever evolving in the next, 12, 24, 48 hours. Again, we do know that in business, and it's happened more times than not, especially on the Xbox side, bad news leads usually Friday evenings. So they have that like cushion for the weekend. And then Monday, maybe people are still talking about it, maybe not. This is a story that I am, for myself, and again, this is no name situation. Forget the content creation community, right? Forget the toxic MFers. You know what I can't wait to see, Crispy? And I know that you're right here with me, and I know you have receipts somewhere. You have a vault of receipts. I can't wait for the gaming media to try and walk back the BS that they've been talking about Xbox going third party for years. Since the only 4 games thing, it's been Xbox on the cross. And I can't wait to see some of these publications try to either defend it, walk it back, or make an excuse for Sony, in the interim. Like, oh, well, this is really good. It's such a great business move. Sony, being on top of their game. I can't effing wait. What do you think about that, Crispy Bomb?
They're okay. They're either going to say nothing, or because it's the weekend, I'm off. I don't do nothing. Monday comes. Oh, okay. People are still talking about it. That's where I say, like, if Sony doesn't take it off, it's gonna happen definitely. But at the same time, they're very stubborn. They've been stubborn for a long time. They've closed a lot of studios too, people.
Yeah.
They've laid off a lot of people too. What are we talking about here? And you know what? To go to Korgenstein's point, Phil said, "Hey, we're going to be starting to focus on VR or AR, whatever you want to call it." And then all of a sudden, he walked it back, and it was about a couple years later. And then all of a sudden, I have a MetaQuest S3 Xbox edition in front of my face. So, what are we talking about? Yeah, he walked it back. Yeah, he brought a partner in that is clearly better at it than they will ever be. The AR thing, like, that's for different stuff. I'm telling you, like, they're still developing in that. It's just not for us. Sorry. It's for like military and stuff like that. And that's the uniqueness of myself, is that I pay attention, and trust me, there are some like special ops that probably have some pretty incredible technology on their head. And that's really well, I'll leave that. But at the same time, Sony's looking at everything and having the analytics now, because, you sell on the console, you don't sell on the console. Hey, our games might actually do well on Xbox, even though we are clearly getting beat in the console war. Even though, like, I would say probably 65% of PlayStation players just play, like, they're going to buy GTA. Oh, that's great. And then some of us, like myself, went from a PlayStation controller to an Xbox controller, and I said, why the hell would I go back? And it's simple stuff like that. It's going to become a platform war. And the one advantage right now is they're already showing you the hand. They're saying, we're going to involve PC stores to everybody else. So what do you see from this? You see the same thing. And that's where King's like taking laps right now because he's like, oh, it's gonna be a PlayStation store. It's gonna be on Steam. It's gonna be on Xbox, wherever, because Xbox has already eliminated that situation. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this pivot is because they probably have some knowledge about what Xbox is actually trying to do with the console space and basically make a PC under our TV.
Yep.
And have a Xbox ecosystem before everything else. But we can already do that. I can already browse the internet on my Series X. People forget these things. Like I was able to do that on my One X.
Mm-hmm.
And all I hear is that like you can't, like I guess there's certain apps like, I'll just leave that to myself. There's certain apps that they are huge fans of, but I believe they're just apps because I can search the web on my Series X if you didn't know that. It's a little interesting that people don't look at these simple things that are actually logical in the end. And PlayStation is like, what are they going to do? They're going to remove everything from Steam? If Xbox includes Steam, what are they going to do? They're going to remove it?
Yeah.
Why would that be logical when you could still sell copies technically, right? Because they're still getting a cut in some way. I know Steam's very frugal in their thought process because they have like 100,000 games on there. If you really look at it, like it's something absurd, like amount of games, but you have to purchase them in some way. Like even some are like $1. So we look at that and say, how are they going to sustain people over time? And you go and look at what Xbox is doing. And you say, okay, like we can release games and they can give us games. And it's becoming one of those like kumbaya moments, which is a little weird.
Yeah, the industry is changing ways that if you would have told any one of us, because me and Crispy are a little bit older, right? We would have been like, you're freaking crazy. Like that's not the future I can see happening. Xbox exclusives, PlayStation exclusives, Nintendo. Like I said, I don't think that this what you're seeing, Crispy, you're going to see Nintendo do. And I say that, wholeheartedly because Nintendo has been walking to their own drum for years. They're going to benefit from games from both PlayStation and Xbox, and they're going to continue putting out their first-party games. And the reason why they don't have to go to other platforms or PC is because their first-party games they have the highest one-to-one console sale piece of software in the gaming business. No one does it better. So they are a bit immune to this, but Sony is not. And obviously Microsoft wasn't. Microsoft went first. They got all the arrows, right? And we saw what happened. We saw, Xbox is dead. Xbox is third party. Just stop making hardware. But Sony, you got to understand something, folks. Why this is happening is a very complex conversation. We've had it before, but just look towards Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 cost $315 million to make, Crispy, right? That game was outdone and oversold by Helldivers 2, which cost $100 million. Now, granted, we don't have the official numbers, and I've said this before, and I want to be clear. Only what I've been able to find, 2.2 million copies on PlayStation 5 of Helldivers 2, which is revered as one of their best games of the year when it came out last year, right? 12 million sales on Steam, though. So there is a question to be asked. Now, you're not going to get the one thing you won't see Sony do, at least I don't think so, is day and date on other platforms. It's going to be, PC is probably the closest you're going to get to that. I don't see it being like an Xbox, like the next Indiana Jones. We talked about it this morning. I think is going to be everywhere day one. maybe not on Switch too, because Switch, we don't know what the power of that thing is, but certainly day one for the second iteration of the Indiana Jones franchise, PS5, Steam, and Xbox day one. That to me makes sense. But Crispy, this is one of those situations where the gaming space as we know it has changed. Who's responsible for changing it first? It's Xbox. And like I said, they got a lot of flack. You know what I'm interested in, and I don't know if this is even worth talking about, because I don't want to beat this topic to death. We're here almost I'm gonna be closing in on an hour soon enough. But the people that left Xbox to go to PlayStation because of exclusives, I wonder how they're feeling right now, Crispy Bomb. I'm just curious.
I'm not feeling very good. The fact is that Microsoft has done things that nobody really wants to agree with.
Yep.
Especially if you're old head. But at the same time, they see the results in their analytics.
Yep.
And those analytics are not just gaming and the Xbox ecosystem, but the Xbox ecosystem has become something different. They get all the analytics from cell phones, from TVs, from all these things. Why do you think they do these partnerships? It's completely logical to realize that maybe Sony got the same thing with just Helldivers and said, imagine if it sold more. And I think that would be the biggest trash on these stands that sit here and say, sales. Nobody buys. Xbox gamers don't buy games and all this other thing. Imagine if Helldivers 2 sold more.
I think it's going to. I really do. Again, like I said before, it's going to be a real big conversation if somehow Helldivers 2 outsells what PlayStation gamers bought. It's going to be a real conversation to be had. And
you have to realize, like, we're not, like, the actual gamers and the stands are two different people.
Yes.
And I always say that because you want to call me a stan, I'm a Gears of War stan. I'm a stan for Gears of War. Xbox, I love the controller. I love the ecosystem. I love how it brings me involved with other people, even if I'm not looking for that at that point in time. It just happens organically. That's where I say, look at their ecosystem. I don't like a game like Returnal. I think would justify the means to port it.
It did not sell. For a game as acclaimed as it was, it didn't sell a lot of copies, dude. So yeah, if they can make money, I'm
pretty sure there's like multiple games that are small. Like, I'm not saying Returnal's this is a massive game, but it had a gameplay loop that honestly I think Xbox gamers would enjoy at certain points. Not saying that it wouldn't feel like Doom Eternal when I played it. You know what I mean? Like, those are the type of things that I look at and I say, like, look, Xbox is not going to take away the games that you've already had. You know what I mean? There's not going to be like, the next Doom is going to be on PlayStation. Okay. They're not going to do that. But there's certain games, like, everybody's like, oh, the whole slate Reloaded's coming. I'm like, dude, they just gave you the first game, bro. Like, people don't understand that. I'm like, dude, Gears 2 is my favorite of all time. I'm sorry. And I think drip feed them that, and we get E-Day until you're done porting Gears 2 and 3 over there, because clearly we thought it was a collection, and it's not. And I'm gonna tell you right now, they're not gonna just do that to the Gears fandom and not give a Gears 2 Reloaded. And I think that's why they went to Reloaded, and they also probably pulled a collection back, in my opinion. And I think it is the right move, because we want Gears to live. And if it sells on PlayStation, super awesome, like, for Super Earth or something. You know what I mean? Like, it just, come on, man. Like, dude, you're welcome to play Gears. And I've been saying this for years now. Okay. I just want that. Okay. Like, I want people that have never played Gears to play, even if it's just the campaign. You know what I mean? That's what I want. And I think the same could go for somebody that maybe never played Spider-Man, like myself. You know what I mean? Like, I think that and Days Gone, I think, are the two ones that would be old enough that they would consider it. And also, like, Nixus, I mean, it seems like they're looking for work, to be honest with you. So, I really think, like, they haven't laid anybody off from that studio, which is interesting. And also, we start seeing ports. So just be cautious. Understand that some Sony exec might be like, delete that now. It never happened. It's never going to happen. But we've seen and also told this story about, what Xbox has done. So I don't really know what to tell you.
So far, so I went and did a quick look, but I'm sure the list is a little bit longer. But I'm going to tell you, Korkenstein and Crispy and chat, exactly what games have been ported over to PC by Nixus so far: Spider-Man Remastered and Spider-Man's Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition, and that's what they have ported so far. So again, I'm not a developer, folks. I don't know what the turnaround is getting a game to PC to then run on Xbox. Any developers in the chat want to give me a school lesson? Be great to read live on the air. I don't know. I know I've heard the 6 months, but again, this decision doesn't come lightly. And as a matter of fact, oh man, here it is. Sea Lord of Bavaros says a pretty interesting thing. He says, "Yep, I'm pretty sure the Forza Horizon 5 PS5 sales shook the Sony executives to their core." And I think that's the quote of the day, right? Like, I think that really is what it comes down to, because when you see reports, if you're a board member at Sony, right, and you obviously know the struggles of moving their ideology to gas games and having to pivot and cancel all these games and move back to single player games, and then of course come out and say, well, these games are expensive, we're only going to doing one AAA banger per year, as opposed to as many as they used to do. When you see it being reported that the best-selling game of the year on your platform is a Microsoft-owned first-party game, you got to start asking questions. Now, I don't think that this is something that they just flip the coin and be like, yeah, we're going to go with it. This has been, Korkenstein said it earlier, Cork, if you want to reiterate it, you don't think that this was a decision that came lightly. You don't think this was a decision that came at the midnight hour of yesterday. This is a decision that's been talked about for quite a while, and now it's official that they are not only looking to hire someone for this executive position, but I still believe that those games, whatever games they are going to be releasing on PlayStation, on Xbox, on Switch, on mobile, on Steam, on Epic Game Store, I think that could happen well before that position is filled. I think it has to happen before that position is filled. Any additional thoughts before we get on out of here?
Yeah. So with that, I would say I would even up it for Sea Lord. Sea of Thieves. If anything, Sea of Thieves was probably the catalyst that really launched this whole let's rethink this for a second, because that's the one that hit pretty hard, got millions of players in, and then that microtransactions alone were probably just fueling a lot of that, and then they had the other games that came, like Indiana Jones and stuff, and then they saw, like, out of our top 10 games, half of them are Xbox. I think Forza Horizon is definitely probably the final straw that might have made them kind of think a little bit and start going, maybe openly going down this route. I forgot the question.
No.
I'm still trying to wake up, and I haven't had any coffee yet.
It's okay. Listen, the question was simple. Like, again, so I asked the question about how long would the port take, and Brett Bingham, who I believe is a developer, and we're good friends, he said that he says this: Double Barrel Gaming ports usually take 8 to 12 months, depending on the amount of people working on it. So again, does Spider-Man 2018 release this year, towards the end of the year, maybe for holiday? I don't know.
I think they're already working on it, if anything.
Yep.
I think well, their best-selling game was Horizon, so I wouldn't be surprised if that comes first. But I definitely know that their margins, remember we had that whole leak like 2 years now, and we saw their margins and their profit on it, and it was extremely low. Well, lowish compared to what they could have done for a Spider-Man IP. So yeah, they're going to be looking to get that money maximized and those margins a little higher. So Spider-Man's 100% going to come. Yeah. I don't know about The Last of Us. I mean, that's an HBO title that's generating a ton of buzz.
Could you imagine if they did that before season 3, though? Like, if they were going to do another season, which I believe that they are. They released that on Xbox. How many? And I'm not talking about diehards. How many normies go and buy a game based on a hit TV show? Well, we saw that happen with Fallout, right? So
yeah,
if Sony was smart and they were going to have The Last of Us, season 3. Right before that would come out, they would announce that they're working on a port for Xbox, and it would generate a lot of buzz. A lot of people on the Xbox would buy that game because they either don't have a PlayStation or didn't have a PlayStation when that game came out. Again, it's marketing 101. It's simplistic, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's the thing that a lot of people hear on these platforms like Twitter and everything. They forget you aren't the casual consumer.
No,
you lost that a long time ago. Like, I'm not a casual consumer. I don't think any of us here on this platform are a casual consumer. Even the ones inside the chat right now, I would say you guys aren't really casual consumers. You are more invested into this than more of the hardcore than the casual consumer would. Casual consumer, I've made this joke before. You ask them, about something like microtransactions or something, and they think it's like a Fortnite skin or it's like a currency in Fortnite. They have zero clue what some of these terms and stuff that we're doing and talking about, because they just don't care. That's why 60 FPS isn't a big push right now. That casual consumer doesn't care. They just want to have fun, play with their games with their friends. Yes. And that's where people kind of forget. And when they put these blinders on, and they don't realize that companies are looking to get these casual consumers. And when you have titles like Spider-Man, massively known, you have titles like The Last of Us, massively known because of its HBO part now. Those you're not going to be like, well, we're not going to sell to you because we love our plastic box. That just doesn't make any sense. See how stupid that sounds when I said it? So yeah, Last of Us probably for sure, and I think you're right. I think if a new season gets announced, you'll probably see them drip feed like they did the other stuff. They're gonna have the secret ultimate director's cut revival remaster edition that comes to Xbox.
Xbox Enhanced Edition.
Yeah, and it's gonna be number 1, and then they'll slow drip number 2. They'll probably do like a remaster of that, and when the next gen comes in. They're going to look to maximize this as much as possible. So we'll probably see The Last of Us on this gen. We'll see The Last of Us remastered on Xbox next gen. And think about it. That's Sony right there, and that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, this has been one heck of an hour-plus stream. It was an impromptu podcast. We have nearly 900 people watching live. I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your Friday evening to hang out with Crispy, Horkenstein. Shout out to Hargeet-chan, who popped in for a hot minute to kind of, talk his talk, right? We're going to see this story unfold, I would imagine, in the next 24 to 48 hours. I'm going to be live Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Fuzzy Belvedere on the new episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special, as we always are. And I would imagine that we're going to be having this conversation to some extent. We're not going to, regurgitate what we spent an hour talking about, but we are going to break it down. Now, I am going to ask this, folks. There are a lot of people watching the show. And if you've been following us for a long time, we were lucky enough, and I say lucky because there's no guaranteed success on YouTube to hit 16,000 subscribers. It's a really big deal for us. It's a small channel, and we want to continue to grow. We want to be in the same room as some of the bigger channels, and we can get there with your help. And if you're not already subscribed, I ask that you check out the show. We don't use, again, folks, we don't do console wars. We don't do toxic behavior. This was a very pointed question. This is something I've been talking about for a while. If you enjoyed today's conversation, you enjoyed today's guests, and you enjoyed today's poll that's in there. As a matter of fact, I got to check the poll right now before we get out of here. Consider subscribing, at least on your way out the door. Hit the like button, because obviously YouTube's been super weird, and new subs and views have been super down. But I think it's because of the summer. But again, we're doing it the right way. We're doing it mom and pop style, and we don't do clickbaitery here. We have adult conversations, and like I said, I'm all about evidence-based conversation where I bring you the posts, I give you the numbers, I name the names on who posted them and give credit where credit is due. So if you like all of that and a bag of chips, please consider subscribing. Let me just catch up on the last super chats here, and we got quite a few of them. First of all, Silver Afro, brother, it is so great to see you back in the chat. He says this, and folks, he's been a channel member for 46 months. That is insane. Thank you so much for the support, brother. He says, good evening, everyone. Haven't been able to make a live show recently, but I'm here for the big one. And indeed, today was a big show. So Silver Afro, thank you so much for joining us. We also have Yada Zach, I believe, drops a £2 super chat and says, take X Vault Gaming, aka Uncle Fester, to clip this. I mean, listen, I get clipped almost on a daily basis. I do 5 live shows a week. I'm sure I always say something that people either want to clown on or troll about. It's fine. I'll say this. I personally don't watch anything that I don't like. Like, there are certain YouTubers that have a lot of sub counts, and I don't like their stuff. And I don't watch anything. I don't have time in a day with everything that I have going on in 24 hours to actually sit and listen and hate listen to something. I don't know so much about you. If I don't enjoy your channel, I'm not subbed, and I certainly don't listen to it. So if I get clipped, so be it. But brother, thank you so much for the generosity. Elijah Vasquez drops a very generous $2 super chat. Says Nintendo follows within the next decade. I bet money. Yeah. I don't know, man. Nintendo's immune from wild market conditions because there are a couple of reasons for it. There is a strategic business reason why the Switch 2 is the power of a PlayStation 4 Pro and not a Series X. Because they make money on every console sold, even with tariffs when you consider them. Same thing with their development. Their games, maybe not for everybody. Maybe they're too kiddie for some people. I love them all. I'm playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I'm freaking in love with that game. Their development costs for any of their big tentpole titles, even the Zeldas, the Marios, the Metroids, they're 1/4 of what Sony or Xbox would spend. So they're making money. They are immune from having to do this. Sony used to say that they were. Well, apparently they're not. Now, obviously, that's why we had to see emergency stream, as the kids like to call it. But, brother, thank you so much for the generosity. Brett Bingham, generous friend of the program. Talk to Brett pretty much every day. Drops not one but two $5 super chats and says, in my humble opinion. Anything that has already been out for at least 5 years is on the table. Death Stranding came over after 5 years. Ghost of Tsushima just turned 5. I mean, that would be a big seller on Xbox. I mean, I platinum that game, and you know what? I don't want to sound like a stan, but I would buy that game again. I'd buy Spider-Man again. I'd buy Days Gone again, and this would, of course, crush all of the narratives of Xbox gamers don't buy games. But I will say this: don't be surprised, and this is going to be something we'll discuss further on Monday, where maybe 1, 2, or several of these games get into Xbox Game Pass day and date because Sony takes a bag. I mean, we will certainly see. His second $5 super chat, and of course, Crispy would appreciate this. A revival of Killzone or SOCOM might actually work if Sony launched it on Xbox on PC day and date, indeed. And lastly, there you go, brother. That's your game right there. DayReezy drops a very. Yeah, I play both. I play. I've been begging for a Twisted Metal. I've been begging for a SOCOM, and unfortunately, my pleas have not been heard. But hopefully, maybe this is the way forward. DayReezy drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Good evening, Boom and everyone. Hashtag whole slate indeed, kind sir." But listen, let's get everyone out of here. Korkenstein, sell the brand, brother. Thank you so much for joining us. I know that you said you just got up, so of course, I don't know if you're going into work tonight or you're actually going to be off, but we certainly appreciate you hanging out with us again today because you were on this morning's Breakfast with Boom. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people check out your podcasts? And more importantly, what else you got going on? And where can people follow you on social media?
Yeah, thanks again for having me. Yeah, I took a PTO today. I was going to go to Montana to visit some friends, and then that plans fell through. But I already had the PTO day. I was like, you know what?
I'm going to take the day.
It's Friday. It's a good day for gaming, so I'm going to stay home. Yeah, thank you again. Like I said, awesome community. We've been having great conversations in the chat. I really appreciate it. Crispy, always a pleasure to chat with you whenever we can. Game Pass Gumbo. We got some plans coming in. As I said earlier, we have some copyright issues with the music and stuff that we used. So I have to go back and redo a whole intro. And one of my co-hosts, he's actually creating the song for it. So once he has that done, we can kind of get some things going back again. Or I might just reach out to the insanely talented Sean Labrie and see what he can help us with. And then, Xbox Talks, we're working on trying to get some codes. We've been doing a lot of developer stuff. So if you guys haven't seen, we gave away like a very limited edition 1 out of 8 Claire Obscure consoles, custom consoles. We gave away 50 Design Lab controllers. We do a lot of stuff for the Xbox community on Reddit. So if you guys can, please go join there. Xbox Talks is a subset of that for that community. And we're working on how to integrate everything together. Reddit's not the biggest fan of like YouTube and self-promotion and stuff like that. So we're trying to figure out how we can incorporate that more back into the community and make them a highlight. So that's definitely a work in progress. I will be on Web Daves tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Is it Sunday, you mean?
Oh, that's right. I think I'm already on the weekend.
Yes.
Sunday. Yes, Sunday. So
and I'll be there with you, kind sir.
Oh, very nice. Awesome.
Yes,
yeah.
Surprise.
Sweet. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, look at that. Even double reasons to come see us on Sunday. And that's it for me. Thank you guys as always. I love you all.
Well, we love you as well, brother. Thank you so much for joining us. Crispy Bomb, sell the brand, brother. Where can people see you on other shows? Of course, I think next week you're going to join us maybe on Friday. And we'll see how this story develops. But also, where could people tune in to you on the socials to get the crispy truth?
Well, you know it. Like, that's where I roll. At Crispbomb on X, Crispbomb28 Xbox Live. And yes, next week, I will be back Friday morning on my OG BWB because I'm an OG. Mm-hmm. So always love joining the panel on there. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, I think gamers are just going to win, and it's going to be a lot of winning for gamers very soon. And I think this is just a domino in the downfall of the console war.
Yeah, the console war is over, folks, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun because we're gonna get back to talking about video games, not console wars, and I love it. I absolutely love it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in, hanging out with us on a Friday evening. Again, if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. Mrs. Boom and I would greatly appreciate your sub. And of course, if you're feeling super generous and you enjoyed the conversation today, share this out on the socials, hit the like button, and of course, a big thank you to all of the super chats that have come in. We certainly appreciate the generosity and continued support. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully one day be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on all of the shows that we do regularly. Thanks so much for stopping by. Have a great weekend. Take care.